Welcome to MSG PM, presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. Your app is ready, Emperor. It's Wednesday, September 15th. My name is Kazim Famiwide, and right now you are checking out a standout game from the people's champ, Derrick Rose, when he dropped 17 points and 11 assists off the bench to lead the Knicks over the Indiana Pacers. So, we're going to take a look at the enigmatic point guard's role for this New York Knicks, some six-man of the year odds, talk a little bit Patriots and Jets this coming weekend. But before we get into any of that, I got to do the thing and tag in my tag team partner, the one and only Jeff Eisenband. Jeff, Derrick Rose is one of the most popular players in the NBA for the past 13 years. Can you believe it's been this long since this guy has been in the NBA, and how long and how winding his story has been, leading to here being an important part to this New York Knicks team?
I feel like it was just yesterday, right? We were watching CDR, Joey Dorsey, Derrick Rose at Memphis with Coach Cal, that final against Kansas, everything. It's been such a road for Derrick Rose, and of course, this was his second tour of duty with the Knicks this year. This was his first double-double with the Knicks last season, this game against the Pacers. And I think that's when you really started to look around and say, this was a great trade for the Knicks. They got something special. Him and Tibbs have something special, even more special maybe against teams from the Midwest. And it just started to grow, and you started to wonder if he could make that push for sixth man of the year last season. You know, Derrick Rose finished with 14.7 points per game last year and 4.2 assists. I think it's going to be interesting to see him coming off the bench this year, and people wondering, can he replicate that same stat line, or does he have to? You know, can he share the ball a little bit more? Because that Knicks second unit, the Knicks depth, probably improves this year. I mean, you saw it in the playoffs, the way they had to move him into the starting lineup. He was one of just a few guys on the Knicks that could create their own shot then. So I think he can defer a little bit more, but that doesn't lower his sixth man of the year odds, because if the points and assists are high, he'll be right among the top leaders in the league at that category.
You know, Jeff, one of my favorite things of last season was watching Derrick Rose go up against second units all year long and absolutely destroy them. And it kind of reminds you, like, oh yeah, this guy was the number one overall pick. This guy was a former MVP. So speaking of number one overall picks, let's full screen it real quick, producers. Derrick Rose. Let's look at these names here. Michael Beasley, another former Knick. OJ Mayo, a high school phenom, which I remember from even playing for the Bucks. Russell Westbrook, of course, the former MVP. Kevin Love, who was still out there for Cleveland, might get bought out this season. And Danilo Gallinari, who played for the Knicks as well and was an Atlanta Hawk this season, was very pivotal to that playoff run that they just finished. Look at these names, man. Like, could you believe? Do you feel old yet? Because I remember just yesterday when this draft took place.
Well, I remember especially from a Knicks perspective, right? The Knicks were sitting there at 6, and you're starting to wonder who can get there, who can drop there. And I'm sure there were a lot of people, by the way, Kaz, when we look back, that thought Russell Westbrook could have dropped all the way to 6. Remember, him getting drafted at 4, for a lot of people, was a little bit of a reach ahead of his college teammate, Kevin Love, who on most draft boards, you probably saw Kevin Love higher. And I look at this draft, and I wonder, well, who had the best career? I think that Westbrook is far and away the guy that ended up. You wouldn't have thought it, right? When Derrick Rose was the youngest MVP at age 22, that's what we'd be seeing. But when you look at Russell Westbrook's Hall of Fame career, MVP, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 2-time All-NBA first team, 2-time scoring champ, 3-time assist leader, and he's probably going to continue adding on to that in the next couple of years, of course, now in Los Angeles. Kevin Love's had a great career as well, 5-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, both second team for him. He was a rebounding leader as well and an NBA champion, so just a loaded top of this draft. And that's not to say anything about Danilo Gallinari, who's had his own long career and obviously was still making waves for the Hawks in the postseason last year.
Yeah, I mean, those names are still pretty productive for the NBA right now, all except OJ Mayo, which hopefully he's doing all right, because I remember he was a big deal coming out of high school and even his first couple seasons in the NBA. But let's jump back to Derrick Rose real quick, and we talked about his sixth man of the year odds. He was traded to the New York Knicks during the season, but let's take a look at those odds coming in for 2021-22. Jordan Clarkson leads the way, the reigning sixth man of the year, followed by another Atlanta Hawk, Kevin Huerter. Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson's teammate, with plus 1,200 odds. Rookie of the year candidate Tyrese Halliburton shares the same odds as Goran Dragic, and the aforementioned Derrick Rose with plus 1,800 odds. I mean, looking at this list, Derrick Rose was really close to snatching that 6th Man of the Year odds. Does this seem like some pretty good money to make if you're going to put something down here?
The only reason I could think of him being so far behind some of these other, players are the books wondering he is obviously injury prone. We've seen, can Derrick Rose make it through a full season? I think it helps coming off the bench for Tom Thibodeau, who ironically, as much as people want to say that Tom Thibodeau threw Derrick Rose too many minutes out there early on, I think he knows how to play Rose the exact right amount of minutes and pace him for the season. I mean, look, Jordan Clarkson, like you said, he won last year. He's at plus 500, but 6th Man of the Year, similar to Coach of the Year, very hard award to pick, to kind of predict at the beginning of the year. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton, that's probably the other name that jumps out to me as a guy who has the talent, but is he not going to be starting at some point? Obviously you have De'Aaron Fox in that backcourt. You have Buddy Hield. Can they mix him in? Can they run those 3 guys? Because it seems like he has too much young talent to keep on the bench in Sacramento. He's another name that jumps out to me, but Goran Dragic, we've talked about. Has he really happy in the situation he's in? Joe Ingles plays in the same team as Jordan Clarkson. Kevin Huerter's a great player, but look, he's on this board because he's a great player, not because he plays that 6-man role that I think makes Derrick Rose so valuable.
I'll tell you this, if one of your players is in the mix for 6th Man of the Year, that usually means your team is pretty good. So seeing Derrick Rose on that list should let Knicks fans know that they got some depth and hopefully they make a pretty good run this season. Let's switch it to the gridiron real quick. Let's take it to MetLife. The New York Jets have their home opener against another rookie quarterback in Mac Jones and the New England Patriots. Zach Wilson leads the Jets as 4-point dogs against New England Patriots. And the over-under of 43 points. Jeff, I'm really looking forward to this game. Zach Wilson looked pretty good in that second half. What do you think?
Well, I think good teams win, great teams cover, right, Kaz? And the Jets managed to get that backdoor cover at the end of that game, getting that to a 5-point game. Incredible stuff. And look, there's a lot of things that the first half of that, offense, obviously this is coming off, a 2-win season. This is Zach Wilson in his first game out there. It was a struggle at first, but the Jets really seem to settle in. Zach Wilson, 258 passing yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. I don't think he made a lot of poor decisions. And a guy like Corey Davis, you could say, established himself with 97 yards receiving, those 2 TDs as the guy for the New York Jets. And I think the Jets needed a wide receiver to step up and play that way for Zach Wilson. So that was great. And on the other side, have we ever heard the media and everyone's so excited about a team after a 17-16 home loss? I mean, the Patriots, everyone's talking about Mac Jones, 89 yards passing, 100 yards rushing for Damian Harris. Why'd they lose? And be it right, the Patriots probably should have won the game. They had the late fumble. They were setting up the field goal. This is a sour loss if you're a Patriots fan. But look, the Patriots still need to prove a lot more. Obviously, they'll continue to play with Mac Jones. Great rookie quarterback matchup coming up here. The Jets should probably be getting a few more points than 4, and they probably would have if the Patriots closed that out. So what you're really looking at here is, are the Patriots going to come back with a vengeance after this loss, playing their rival against the Jets? Do we think this is a classic Patriots come and play the Jets and take out their anger on them? Or are these really 2 closer teams that are still trying to figure it out this season?
Well, either way, Jeff, it's going to be a headline game when you got 2 rookie quarterbacks going head-to-head. And you talked about, Patriots fans not being too upset with that loss. As a Jets fan, I liked what I saw with Zach Wilson, so I'm really looking forward to that home opener in MetLife between 2 outstanding rookie quarterbacks. New York, we're going to send you back to the Knicks and Pacers. Check out Derrick Rose, that 17-point, 11-assist game. That's Jeff Eisenband. I'm Kazim Famiwide, and this has been MSG PM presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. Your app is ready, Emperor. See you soon.